what we're talking about here about working with your subconscious in combination with ketamine, it's not theory. It is the exact process that I've used since 2021. I've seen it work for so many people. It's the thing that leads to lasting transformation. And I've worked with all sorts of clients, the anxious ones, the overthinkers, the people that have worked with psychedelics for 30 years or the psychedelic first timers. It's this information that is the game changer. And yeah, I know I've had conversations with people when I start talking about the subconscious and people feel a sense of betrayal of like, why didn't I know this sooner? And I get it. I have that all the time. And it's now, the only moment we have is right now. So it really is what you do with it now. And so when you work with the benefits of the subconscious mind, again, that's when you stop looping those same emotional behavioral patterns. You get to feel safety, not just during ketamine, but in your daily life. Ketamine Connections, welcome back. My name is Anna, and I want to give you a quick heads up into what today's episode is and what you are about to hear. It has to do with something that is happening very soon at the time of this recording that I want to make sure that you know about and you feel really invited to. This episode that you're about to hear is a replay of a live class that I did in the fall of 2025 that is called How to Use Ketamine to Transform Your Subconscious Mind. And the reason I am releasing it right now is because we are in the final weeks before our live round of the ketamine preparation protocol. Everything that you are about to hear in this class is exactly the foundation of what we're going to be doing together inside the ketamine preparation protocol. So I want you to think of this like your preview, the 7-step framework of how to use ketamine to transform your subconscious mind. This is the subconscious piece that 90% of people walking into ketamine are missing. It explains why your intention is so important, how to set your compass, and really what is your greatest asset when you are on the path of transforming with ketamine. And especially if the ketamine is not quite working the way that you were hoping it would, this is absolutely there for you as well. Everything is in there. And by the time you are done with the episode, you're going to understand how ketamine actually works on the level that most clinics don't even know, let alone teach you. And here is the reason it matters most right now at the time of this recording than any other time. And that is because the live round of the ketamine preparation protocol is coming up in the first week of May of 2026. And that's soon. The people who are going to get the most out of this live round are the people that are going to listen to this episode and have this as the foundational piece. So you can kind of think of this episode as your onboarding into the live round. So here's what I want you to do after you listen, or honestly, even right now before life gets lifing, go to the show notes and click on the interest list. It's all the way at the top of the show notes, and get your name onto the interest list. When you are on that list, you get the first access before it opens up anywhere else. And that matters because we are going to be a small, tight-knit cohort. I want you to get first access to that spot. I also want you to get all the details about any bonuses that I throw into the mix or any other information that I offer. I like creating really fun, entertaining, educational emails, and I want you to receive that gift from me. And honestly, getting onto that interest list is the best way to deepen beyond this episode, beyond the show altogether, and I would love to see you on there. And in case you are wondering if the live round will happen again, y'all, this is only the second time that I am doing this in over a year. That first round last year, I still think about that group, what happened in the container, the way everyone showed up for each other, and the way they walked into their sessions and then came back after their sessions. I carry it with me, and I want to invite you into that if that is resonating with you. So get on the interest list. The link is in the show notes, and then settle in because the class, How to Use Ketamine to Transform Your Subconscious Mind, is about to begin. And it's a really good one. I'm excited for you. And by the way, this was a slideshow presentation type of class. So if you prefer to listen to it and watch the slides as well, then go to the show notes and click the YouTube link so that you can watch this on YouTube and you can get the full visual experience if you're a visual person like me. All right, let's get into the episode. All right, welcome everyone. Tonight's class, How to Use Ketamine to Transform Your Subconscious Mind. I'm so excited everyone is here tonight. I I would love to know where you're tuning in from. So put it in the chat. I would love to know. I'm in Austin, Texas, if you don't know that. Okay. Yeah, let's dive in to how to use ketamine to transform your subconscious mind. And I just want to kind of identify, let you know you're in the right place. So you are in the right place. I've heard amazing things about ketamine. Maybe you've tried it and you want to make sure that it leads to the lasting change that is really going to make the difference in transforming your life. You've been on this journey, you've tried all the things, and you still feel like you're stuck and you're wondering, kind of like, okay, what is it going to take for me to get out of these loops? Ketamine is different. Maybe you've heard that. And maybe you're wondering, like, why and how is it different? Why is this going to work when, again, I've tried all the things and the therapy, the medication, the other self work isn't working? So why is this going to? You're definitely in the right place. And, if you've been, again, if you've listened to any of the podcast, you know that I'm all about the subconscious mind. I'm all about getting deep into what is underneath and driving those loops. And if that's you, then yeah, then you want to know how to reach those levels of what's underneath that. And we're going to get into that as well today so that you're not just knowing how to use ketamine to transform your subconscious, but you also leave with an understanding of what the subconscious is. Okay. By hanging out today, you're going to learn what is running your life. Again, it's the subconscious mind. So you are going to get more insight into that. You're going to learn how ketamine opens the door to your subconscious. And the number one mistake that most people don't know, the mistake that people make that doesn't lead to the change that they want. And by avoiding that mistake, you're going to learn how to take your session beyond symptom relief into lasting transformation. Oh, and the bonus. But you're going to walk away knowing more about how ketamine works than most clinics. I talk to a lot of clinics. I've been doing this since 2021. And honestly, there's very little information about the subconscious mind in the medical space, which is fascinating to me because it drives 95% of your life. And so you're going to walk away knowing more than a lot of clinics as to what is the ketamine doing and why it works because of the information that you're going to receive by hanging out with me here today. Now, I know there's all different kinds of people coming to ketamine. So before I say anything else, I want to just let you know if you shouldn't be here. So, if you are looking for a magic pill, a silver bullet, some sort of quick fix, this really is not it. I'm not a quick fix. Ketamine's not a quick fix. No, nothing out there is a quick fix. So, if that is something that you have been promised, I deeply apologize. That is kind of where we've landed with the medical space, that a lot of the Western medical model is just handing out quick fixes that fix the symptoms. And what you're going to learn today is how to get underneath the symptoms into the programming so that you are working at a more efficient level. If you are not open to working with your subconscious and going into that deep level, really, this is not for you. And, psychedelics are a wonderful light show. So if you're more interested in the recreational use of psychedelics, which I have nothing against, then great. But this is a training and this is a class about how to use psychedelics to transform with psychedelics, not just go to a rave and have a party. And if you're someone who gets offended that, I'm going to give you an hour of free gold and then make an offer of how we can continue working together to go deeper, then this is probably not for you either. Okay, so before we go into the deep dive, I want to explain to you who I am and why I'm the one giving this talk. Like, what is my story? Where am I coming from? So my story it's on the podcast, actually. If you go to episode 15, I talk about my story to coming to psychedelics, changing my life. I had used psychedelics recreationally as a kid. And in 2018, I had been on this journey for multiple years to make changes in my life, to make the bigger changes. I had been practicing yoga for about, I don't know, more than 10 years. I had been meditating daily for multiple years. I had already started working with hypnosis and was already a hypnotherapist. And I I couldn't make the changes. I go through that in episode 15. Check it out if you want that story. And actually, next week on November 12th, episode 67 is going to be the deeper dive into that story and what I've learned after 7 years of having psychedelics transform my life. Now, my story is a little bit different in that I collided with psychedelics and it fast tracked all of the changes that I wanted to make. But I didn't know why. I had come out of just one weekend with psychedelics, completely transformed all of those changes that I had been working to make for multiple years, all of a sudden just clicked in. That was to me fascinating. I am a very curious person just by nature. I am a lifelong learner and I wanted to know why. Why did the psychedelics work when nothing else did? And I I went on that journey to figure out those answers. At the time, I was living in New York City. I was already working in wellness, as I said, in yoga and hypnosis. And I had a wide network of therapists and coaches and Reiki practitioners and breathwork practitioners and all of these people. No one could explain to me what happened. And I was obsessed. I became obsessed with that question. And I went on a multiple year journey to figure it out. Yeah, like what happened that weekend? I became genuinely I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I learned, I went through different trainings. I studied with so many different mentors and teachers and masters. And, after years of working to figure it out, what I had actually learned is that the psychedelics open the door, but it's what you do on the other side of it that actually makes the difference. It's what you do with the epiphany, with the aha moment, with the opening to the subconscious programming. We're going to talk more about that later. And here's what I'm going to tell you right now about working with the subconscious mind. So, let me get to the next slide. When you apply subconscious reprogramming to psychedelic use, that is when you go from symptom relief to life relief. You get to understand what is underneath the symptoms, right? It's like going from rearranging chairs on the Titanic to like plugging the leak that has the ship sinking. And that allows you to get a lot of clarity of like, oh, these are the mechanisms at work that are leading to me looping emotions, looping habits, looping my entire life. I know that when I was praying for change in 2018, I was looking at the next 5 years of my life and I was like, wow, the next 5 years are going to look exactly like the last 5 years if I don't do something. And what I got through the psychedelics was that I got to open up the back end of my programming. I got to look inside. And because I already knew the subconscious mind, I didn't just open it up, look inside, and go, cool, there's my programming, right? Which, if you don't know the subconscious piece, that is the 90%, what 90% of people are missing is opening it up, looking inside, and actually reworking the subconscious programming rather than opening it up, right? It's like you open your pantry after an earthquake and you open it up and you see everything sort of in shambles, but you don't pick it up. You're not going to have an orderly closet. Okay. And when you use the psychedelics to access the subconscious and then you actually use the tools that we'll talk about to change the conditioning, change the programming, then what you get is you get your personal power back. You get to recreate your life from your conscious mind. You get to like Alice in Wonderland, right? Or no, sorry, not Alice in Wonderland. What's the other one? Oh, Wizard of Oz. In the Wizard of Oz, at the end of this epic hero's journey that I forgot, Dorothy. There we go. That Dorothy goes on. She she opens the curtain and she's that scared man is the man behind the curtain. And that is exactly what happens when you combine subconscious reprogramming with the access to opening the curtain. Once you get a peek behind the curtain and you see everything that's been there, you're not going to be the same, because you see what's driving all of that programming, and you get to use free will to make different choices, to stop reacting and start creating the life that you want. You get your personal power back, which is so cool. So, okay, quick recap of my story. The psychedelics changed my life. In one weekend, I did like over 3 years of, self-development work, and I just became obsessed. I really wanted to know what happened, and I went on this journey to figure it out. And that is the information that I'm going to share with you today. So, what's possible today, having the answers that I have, going on the journey that I've been on, making the changes that I made, I just want to let you know what it is that's possible in my life. So, on a personal level, there is a lot of freedom. I've peeked behind, so many curtains after 7 years of this work. I have seen behind so many curtains that I have the ability to use free will to create my life in a way that I want. I'm not privy to whatever I experienced as the programming of my subconscious mind, but rather I have the freedom to see it behind the curtain and look at it and say, okay, cool, that's what I'm working with, and I'm going to make different choices. Something that I'm really proud of that is a result of that is I have the absolute best relationships. I have the, personal relationships, professional relationships, community here that is so epic. And that's something that I'm really proud of, because before all of this work, I was a chronic people pleaser. I had terrible boundaries. I had very little, if any, grasp of my yeses and nos. And on top of all of that, I was highly reactive. And so when you combine poor boundaries, which leads to self abandonment, with reactivity, it wasn't a very good, yeah, the depth of my relationships couldn't go very deep because of that. And so I'm really proud to have rich relationships now. Gosh, I get to do this work. I feel so honored and privileged to do. Guiding people into your subconscious mind is absolutely the most fulfilling work that I've ever done. And I have a background in early childhood education. I've led students all over the world as a study abroad leader. But when I get to see people use the tools that we're going to talk about today to transform your subconscious mind and get your power back and live with freedom and choice, is just the best part of my life. And I've helped hundreds. I get to continue helping hundreds. And I get to really be a stand for not just the ceremony of psychedelics, but really using that to go deeper to get the transformation that's possible. And yeah, my entire life changed when I realized that it was me. It wasn't the psychedelics that changed my life. It was my access to the subconscious mind that changed my life. That's the information that I'm sharing today. I've seen it work for years. And I just want to affirm, as much as I know and as much as I've been doing this work, I'm not Andrew Huberman with an entire lab studying the subconscious at Stanford University. I'm not the Dalai Lama meditating on a mountain for the past, 100 years. I just am someone who learned simple facts about the subconscious mind, applied them to the opening to the subconscious that I received from working with psychedelics, and got to redo my life. But listen, I still had to face all my shit. I still had to look behind the curtain, see the mechanisms behind the curtain, and undo those mechanisms, and then also go through the repatterning of those programs and really question everything. Like, there is a profound, gosh, healing when you look behind that curtain. You're like, wow, that's what's been driving my life. That it's humbling. It's humbling, probably more than anything else. So yeah, I just want to like humbly say that if I can learn these things and apply them, really anyone can. Okay, so we're going to get into what these things are. I'm going to switch gears in a moment, but I want you, you're here, you're taking the time, whether, you're here live with me or you're on the recording. I want to empower you to get the most out of this time that we have together. And so there's two ways that I want to do that. I want to get you out of your own way. So the number one way that you can get in your own way is by having this attitude of, I already know this, or I know what she's about to say, or I've heard this before. I want to see kind of hands in the chat. Who's heard before to keep a beginner's mind? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have some people that have heard of that. Amazing. Most of you have. Amazing. I've been studying the subconscious mind for so 12 years. And I went to a beginner's lecture on the subconscious mind on Monday because there's always more to learn. And I want you to have that experience of getting something new here because there's always more to be experienced. So if you agree to keep a beginner's mind, I want you to just kind of like take that hat off with me. Okay. We're going to like all together, we're going to like pretend you have a hat on and you're just going to like take that hat off and just put it off to the side. You can absolutely get back to it later. I'm so for you picking up that I know it all hat that's trying to control everything. We all have it, by the way. And the other thing is that your subconscious mind learns through experience. We'll talk a bunch about how you're not going to think your way out of your patterning and conditioning. You're going to do it through experience. And so there's going to be times like right now where I'm going to call upon your participation and I want you to participate. So if you are a yes to that, then I want you to just kind of raise your hand and repeat after me. I give myself permission to participate. I give myself permission to keep an open mind and to experience what there is for me to experience here. Okay. Amazing. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I want to give you an overview. Again, I mentioned it briefly. I used to be a classroom teacher. So, I absolutely love giving you sort of the bird's eye view of, okay, this is where we're going. And then breaking it down. So, this is the bird's eye view of the 7 steps of how to use ketamine to transform your subconscious mind. Now, step number 1 is to learn and understand what the subconscious mind actually is. This is the part that 90% of people miss. And this is what allows for the real change to happen. So that is the number 1 step, to just know that you have a subconscious mind. It's so once you learn that you have a subconscious mind, you understand what the subconscious mind is, then you learn how the ketamine opens the door to the subconscious mind. And that's important because when you open the door to your subconscious mind, you quiet what I call the guardian of the mind and what science calls the default mode network. And that is your entry into your subconscious reprogramming. It's the gate that opens up so you can see that programming and you can experience what's behind the curtain. Once you're there, once you're behind the door of the guardian of the mind, you're in your default mode network, then you get to look around and identify like, what is it that you want to change? Is it a thought pattern? Is it a self-talk pattern? Is it a habit? It's really crucial to name whatever it is that you're ready to change, because that is what lets you get to step number 4, which is to set an aligned intention. Your intention is the GPS of your entire journey. The number 1 rule of psychedelics is set and setting. When you work with an intention, you are working with one of the most powerful forces that you have in life. And we'll talk more about that because I'm going to go through all of these steps in more detail in a moment. I'm just giving you the overview view right now. So when you set an intention, an aligned intention that is based on the pattern that you're ready to change, then you get to experience the ketamine with more curiosity than control. I want to see a show of hands. Who's heard trust the process? Yeah, right. I remember hearing that for years and just kind of being like, well, just tell me what the process is and then I'll trust it. But so when you have these steps in place, that's when you get to actually trust the process. And once you are in the trusting, right? You're in the state of curiosity, then you get to integrate, you get to make those changes and watch your life transform. And when you do, that's when you get to step number 7, which is you get a new identity. This is where the transformation sticks, when you start thinking and acting and living like the version of you that's already healed. And that's when you're working with the 95% instead of the 5%. And that's why that is so cool, because otherwise what you're doing is you're trying to use the 5% to control the 95%. And that just like even mathematically makes no sense. So those are the 7 steps. Now let's get into all of them. Unpack them just a little bit deeper. Let's go. All right. Step number 1, understanding what the subconscious mind is. This image here of the iceberg is the most common image of understanding the conscious and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is that piece above the surface. It's the little piece peeking out. And then the subconscious is that 95% that's hiding out underneath the surface. This is where your habits, your reactions, your fears, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about the world, your beliefs about what's possible, all of that lives in the 95% that is subconscious. And I mentioned this earlier, it's not logical. It's way more emotional. It's sensory. It's formed by experience. And so when you're trying to rework your life by thinking, by willpower, by just the 5% alone, you're basically trying to reprogram your computer by yelling at the monitor. I'm not a tech person, but I know that that's not the way. But once you understand that the subconscious mind is there and that you have the ability to reprogram it, so you can open the door to your subconscious and change your beliefs at any age. That's episode 66. So yeah, when you understand what the subconscious mind is and you understand that ketamine is going to open the door to it, that's when you get to the entry point of transformation. Okay. That's the default mode network is that control center. And when you work with ketamine, the subconscious opens up. And it's important to know what it is that you're opening the door to. If I'm opening the door to a library, I know how to use a library. I know how to navigate a library. I know that it's different than walking into a mechanical control room, which I actually don't know how to navigate. But when you are opening the door and you're looking inside and you're looking at the mechanisms, then you know what to do with that access. If you just open it up and you don't do anything with that opening, then that's not where the change is going to happen. Opening the door, walking through that door, and then this is the big thing is like, okay, what are you going to do with the patterning? What are you going to do with what you've noticed? You can't reprogram what you haven't named. So naming it brings your awareness to it. And when you bring your awareness to it, that's where the change really begins, because you take what's unconscious and you bring it into the conscious. And that is really the first step to reclaiming your power. It's like when Dorothy opened the curtain, she had a choice. I can continue being afraid of this all-powerful mighty Oz that she had just spent her entire journey, or she can make a different choice, which is to just go, whoa, I don't have to be afraid of this. So identifying those patterns is crucial. Now, when you identify the pattern, then identifying what you want, right? What do you want to do with that? This is the aligned intention piece, right? You're setting your GPS. I use the metaphor of setting your GPS in the ketamine preparation protocol, because a lot of people come into ketamine just go, well, I just want to feel better. Totally understood, but it's not going to cut it. That kind of intention is not going to get you to a destination. The way that I talk about it inside the ketamine preparation protocol is, okay, I'm just going to go to the train station. I'm going to catch the midnight train going anywhere. You're going to get somewhere, but Don't you want to set that journey of like, I want to get to joy, I want to get to freedom, I want to get to fulfillment, whatever it is. And the subconscious mind, it's your programming. It doesn't have new thoughts or ideas. It's recreating the old programming. And so the more direction you can give it, the better. If you're giving it vague direction, it doesn't know where to go. But if you are giving it really precise direction, then you're activating the brute force. It's a very David and Goliath type of imagery. You're recruiting the 95% to help you make the changes that your 5% works. It's also important to know, I mentioned that it's not a master, it's a servant. The subconscious mind is a servant to your programming. A servant works best with really specific instructions. And the subconscious mind also speaks a different language than your conscious mind. Have you guys heard that the subconscious mind speaks a different language than the conscious? No. Yeah, it's more than I can get into right now, but the subconscious mind, again, because it is a servant, because it is operating differently than your conscious mind, the language there is different. As a study abroad leader, I've led trips to Costa Rica. So when I go to Costa Rica, if I speak Spanish, which I do, I can have a much more rich experience. So when you understand the language of your subconscious, then you also get to have a richer experience of experiencing your subconscious mind and transforming it. Okay. So again, you're setting that aligned intention. You're recruiting your 95% subconscious to help you. And that's when you get to experience ketamine with that curiosity, right? You cannot control your way to the transformation that you want, because I can tell you very, very just brutally honest, you don't know. You don't know what that transformation really is. You have a concept of it, but it's likely you don't have a lot of lived experience of it. How do I say this? It's you don't know what you don't know, right? Or you haven't experienced what you haven't experienced, right? I can sit here and imagine what it's like to, I don't know, eat a croissant by the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But when I'm actually there experiencing it, again, the subconscious mind learns through experience. When I'm there experiencing it, that's when I get the sights and the smells that I don't even know exist when I'm sitting in Texas, imagining being in Paris. That's when I maybe have an interaction with someone there that is profound and amazing. And that's what it's like to experience ketamine, is to go on a journey and have an experience. And so when you stop controlling the experience, right? There's different ways of traveling. I've done them all. As a study abroad leader, we had a very, very clear itinerary. As a solo traveler, I just would wander. So the less control you have, the better the ketamine will be, because then you'll get to experience things that you've never experienced. And that is really what changes your life, is having new experiences. And when you have new experiences, you get the power of contrast. You are experiencing something so different, and then you get to commit to like, okay, I'm going to go to step number 6, which is to integrate this. This is what most of the psychedelic conversation is missing, is that the journey doesn't start or end just with the journey. The organization MAPS, which is the largest international psychedelic advocacy organization, they have the biggest conference. It happened in June, and the theme was integration, because it really is about what you do with the medicine, with the access to your subconscious mind, that moves you forward into a new reality. The integration really is everything. I have a personal belief that preparation is even more important, because then you're set up to move in that direction. You've set your GPS, and it makes the integrating part easier. The ketamine preparation protocol is focused on preparation. And because I know you need tools, there's actually a lot of tools in there that are effective you can use for preparation and also integration. So I'm going to tell you guys everything that's inside the ketamine preparation protocol in a little bit. But first, let me get to step 7. You're integrating, your life transforms, you're living, the dream that you have set aside. And that's when you get a new identity. That's when you get to become a whole new person. You're thinking different thoughts. You're making different choices. You're showing up in new areas of your life with a new identity. And that's when you get an embodied reality. That's when you are living the new reality rather than conceptualizing it or efforting towards it or even chasing it. You are then able to be it. That's when it becomes easy. That's really when it becomes so much easier because you're living it, right? Again, that 95%. Okay. Now, let's go. Let's just do a bird's eye view of those 7 steps again. And remember that one bleeds into the other, okay? They all work together so that you are transforming your subconscious, you're living a new reality. And again, most people coming to ketamine, they're just doing number 5. They're like, okay, I'm just going to go try ketamine and just kind of see what happens. But also, I have a lifetime of controlling my life, which I did too. It gets us really far in life. It got me really far in life. And most people are just doing step number 5 and then one of two things, either not getting the transformation that they want with ketamine and then saying, oh, ketamine doesn't actually work, or two, the other thing that people do if they don't have this full step system to transforming and getting a new identity is that then they go to the medicine over and over because they think they need the medicine. They don't know that the medicine is giving them access to what's actually going to change. Wow, so much is possible when you start applying this to ketamine, whether and if you do it before you get into the ketamine or if you're already in ketamine and you apply it then, it just changes the whole experience. I've seen it so many times working with clients that have already started their ketamine journey, anywhere from like, oh, I've done 3 sessions to like, I've been working with it for almost a year on a regular basis. And then we apply this work and the whole experience changes. As I'm going to say over and over again, it's all about the subconscious mind, which is also the next slide. The subconscious mind. It's 95%. It is your entire life. It's how you get to make this whole process easy. Regardless of what's happened and the experience you've had of changing your thoughts and your patterning and all of that, regardless of how it's been up till now, when you recruit that 95% that is your subconscious mind, it really does become easy. If you're still with me, then I know you know this. I know if you don't already know this, I know it's starting to sink in. I know you have I definitely know you have what it takes. I know everyone has what it takes, but I know that it's something that you can really even get started with right now. And this is the part where I just want to really hammer this in. This isn't theory. This isn't like, oh, I hope this isn't like when I start a new meditation practice and I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is going to do for me, right? I wonder what this is going to unfold. Or I recently was doing a cleanse and I was like, oh, I wonder what it's going to feel like to be on the other side of this cleanse. This isn't theory, like what we're talking about here about working with your subconscious in combination with ketamine. It's not theory. It is the exact process that I've used since 2021. I've seen it work for so many people. It's the thing that really leads to lasting transformation. And I've worked with all sorts of clients, the anxious ones, the overthinkers, the people that have worked with psychedelics for 30 years, or the psychedelic first timers. It's this information that is the game changer. I know I've had conversations with people when I start talking about the subconscious and people feel a sense of betrayal of like, why didn't I know this sooner? And I get it. I have that all the time. And it's now, the only moment we have is right now. So it really is what you do with it now. And so when you work with the benefits of the subconscious mind, again, that's when you stop looping those same emotional behavioral patterns. You get to feel safety, not just during ketamine, but in your daily life. You're using your free will to be a conscious creator rather than a passive participant. And you press the fast forward button, goes beyond symptom relief. Ketamine is pretty much guaranteed for more than 90% of people to give symptom relief, but this goes beyond symptom relief. This goes into, again, that whole new identity that makes life relief really easy and obvious. All right, let's take a breath. We've talked about a lot today. Okay, so we've talked about the subconscious mind. We've talked about patterns. We've talked about reprogramming. We've talked about the foundations of real transformation. And so what do you do with all of this, right? I couldn't possibly in an hour give you everything that you need to actually make these changes. So you have a couple of options, right? The slow way, which is what I did. A lot of trial and error, a lot of studying with different teachers, a lot of piecing things together from a lot of trainings that, are similar to what we're doing here today. Or you can join me inside the ketamine preparation protocol. It is the fast track. It's from years of trial and error. It's from years of client work. It's from years of knowing that this works. And it's what you can use to start rewiring your mind today, whether you're signed up for ketamine, whether you're doing ketamine, the tools of accessing your subconscious mind, which are all available inside the ketamine preparation protocol, they're going to work whether you ever work with ketamine or not. Ketamine is going to make them easier and faster to work with. And I highly recommend it, because who doesn't want to take the gondola? I mean, sometimes you want to go for a hike. I get it. I love hiking. Maybe that's why I took the slow way of trial and error. But if you want to take the gondola and just get to the top of the mountain, combining this work with ketamine, that is going to be what fast tracks your transformation, saves you a lot of time, a lot of hardship, and gets you moving along faster. Again, the work's never done, but don't you want to keep moving along at a rate that's beyond whatever you've already experienced? We've talked about a lot today. Before I talk more about the ketamine preparation protocol, I just want to say, if there's one thing that I want you to take away, is that it's not the ketamine, it's how you use it to transform your subconscious mind. I've cracked the code on how to make ketamine work faster, better. And my passion is to teach this so that you can use it and reprogram your subconscious mind again, so that you are sliding down the hill rather than walking up the hill. My best guess is that if you're here, you've already have been trudging up the hill. So let's get you to the top of the hill faster and to get to the view that you've been getting to, right? That's definitely something that I would love for you, that I would love for everyone. Okay, let's talk about what the ketamine preparation protocol is. It's the step-by-step system. It's what I've developed from working with clients one-on-one since 2021. It's the way to help you use ketamine to create real lasting transformation. And it works whether you're brand new to psychedelics or have been working with other psychedelics. It's designed for me to take you by the hand, to show you exactly what the subconscious mind is, to explain to you where it lives, how it's formed, to explain to you the inner workings of the subconscious, all the things that I couldn't possibly get into in just an hour together that we have right now, and understand how to work with the subconscious. Really, it's going even deeper on the things that we covered here today. It's going to give you the exact tools, the subconscious reprogramming patterns or practices rather, that you can use before, during, and after, all of the steps that you need that will let you understand your subconscious, understand how to work with it, and walk into your session. Again, whether you do ketamine or not, you're going to be able to wire yourself for success in the way that is fastest and most efficient. To get a little deeper into it, it's a 3-module guide. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of it in a couple of slides. And when you sign up, it's all right there. You'll get instant access to it. It is lifetime access as long as the course exists. Any updates I'm adding to the program regularly, it's all in there. And just imagining knowing where your patterns live, being able to feel the calm going into your ketamine sessions, knowing that you're doing what you can to get the most out of ketamine, having that guidance, right? Knowing more than the clinics do. Maybe I have clients that teach their prescribers and their administrators a few things, which is always fun to hear about, and using all of that to actually finally break free from those old emotional loops that have been running your life. That is, yeah, it's huge. Okay, let's talk about what's like actually inside. Here's what you're gonna see when you get in there. Okay, there's 12 modules right now. Like I said, I'm always adding to it. It started with 5, by the way, and we already have 12 in just a few months that this has existed. I'm so proud of everything that's in here, because, we started with 5, and I would say half and half being things that I share with clients. in my one-on-one work that I want to bring to you guys, right? To have access to. I don't want to gatekeep anything. I really want to get this out to as many people as possible. My one-on-one time is finite, but this is a way to get it out into the world at a bigger level. And then the other half of the additions are what gets requested. There's the core of the protocol, which is step 1, 2, and 3. Step 1 is setting the GPS. You've already understood why that's important. Step 2 is going deeper into what we've discussed here today, how ketamine helps you rewire your subconscious mind and what is the subconscious mind. And then step 3 is setting the intention to chart your journey. And then all of the 6 supplementary lessons are there to support all of this. Again, support step 1, 2, and 3 and support your before, during, and after ketamine journey. So there's journal prompts. There's over 100 of them, and they're split up into different topics. The quick guides, my gosh, subliminal recordings. I freaking love subliminal recordings. They are a way to get through that default mode network guardian and imprint affirmations, suggestions into your subconscious. There's hypnosis recordings. You can use before and after. Love a pep talk. I love it so much that I did a whole podcast episode on it recently. So there's pep talks in there as well to hold your hand through this entire process. Okay, how much this is going to cost? If you were to combine all of the hours of access, if you were to try to do that one-on-one with me, it would be, honestly, it would be way more than 1,000. It would be probably, I think, 1,800. But the entire ketamine preparation protocol, all of those modules that I just talked about, is just $297. It's less than the average ketamine session in the country. It's the thing that's going to fast track everything so that you can really master yourself. And yeah, and that's what I have. All right, that was the class. And if you just spent the last hour nodding along, if something about that landed in you, maybe the piece about the subconscious or the GPS and setting it, maybe the idea that is the premise of this whole show of that ketamine opens up the door and you get to walk through it. I want you to hear the next part. The live round of the ketamine preparation protocol is happening in the first week of May 2026. And what that means is that beyond getting the framework that you can always get on my website, link is always in the show notes, you are going to get to go through it with me, with other people in live time, all of us on the same journey at the same time, in the same experience. I'll be there answering questions. Other people might have questions you couldn't even think of or imagine. And how cool is that we get to go through it together and build community and know that we are so supported and together in this journey. It is a real experience with a real start date. I am really in there with you, and I'm really excited, if this is resonating with you, to see you on the Zoom screen and do this live together. Again, the only other time that I have done this live was last year, 2025. It's been over a year since I've run a live round. I don't know if or when I'm going to run another live round. This is all a big experiment. So if this is something that resonates with you, get in there so that I know that this is how you as listeners prefer to be served by the ketamine preparation protocol and by all of this work that is the work that takes ketamine from just another thing you tried to transforming your life. And most importantly, y'all, I am not offering you to buy anything right now. I am just offering for you to get onto the interest list so that I can gauge interest. It's really just a metaphorical raising of the hand of like, yeah, I'm interested. I want to do this live. And if you join that interest list, you'll be the first to know when that live program is available to be signed up for. You'll get emails from me, and I want to make sure that you're there if this is something that you're interested in. And by the way, if you are already a KPP student and you're hearing this, just keep an eye on your inbox in the next like 2-ish weeks, because I'll be sending you all of the details to join the live round completely for free. I want you in there if this is something that you are interested in. All right, that is all. That is the episode today. The ask to get on the interest list if you feel like this is for you. And I said it a few times in the class that you just listened to. I am so passionate about this work. I'm so grateful and honored and privileged to do this work. I have been watching people's lives change for the past 5+ years. I get to watch people walk into their ketamine one way and walk out with a totally different life. And that is so freaking cool. And I want that for you, if that is something that you are ready for and wanting for yourself. All right, y'all, that is all I have for you today. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and I will see you here next time on Ketamine Connections. Bye. Hey, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today on Ketamine Connections. I hope that this episode inspired you. I hope that it uplifted you. And I hope it just expanded your mind in some way with some perspective shift. We have been running this show for over a year now, which is incredible. And after more than 50 episodes, we have so many different resources to offer you. And we took all of those resources, we put it into one place called the Ketamine Starter Portal. Check that out in the show notes. Everything you need is there. All of our guides, anything that we've talked about on the show is in that portal. And it's also the best way to get in contact with me, since we are not allowed to talk about psychedelics on social media. Being on the email list is the best way to get updates, to get all of the information that you need, and to stay in touch. So I really hope to see you in there.